from Pro Wrestling Junkies, and welcome to another episode of Getting to Know a Junkie. Today's junkie hails from Hughes Springs, Texas, and he goes by the name of Daniel Williams. Daniel, how are you?
I'm great, man. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Do you go by Dan or Daniel?
Daniel.
Daniel, perfect. And you have your
my grandmother called me Danny, but she is long since gone, and that name has been retired.
Oh, okay. So do you have anything against Dan or Danny?
No, it's just I don't. I guess it's just one of those quirky things. It's like my mama named me Daniel, so it's Daniel.
Yeah. Well, that's like me. Like my full name is Bradley. If I go by Brad, but so like if you were in a room and someone yelled, "Dan, you're next," would you look?
It kind of depends. Well, because some people as soon as you meet them, they'd be like, "Okay, your name is Dan. I'm calling you Dan. I'm always calling you Dan. This is not changing. You are now Dan."
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, it's kind of whatever.
I submit.
But I prefer Daniel, but it doesn't matter.
So, do you have any Christmas plans?
Well, as much as any of us do, I have some things I'm pretty excited to give my lady because, there's certain presents that when you know somebody really well, only I would think to give you this thing.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty excited about that. But otherwise, I think I'm just, Christmas this year is just kind of I'm glad that's one step closer to this really horrible year being over.
Yeah, it's just one more day. Do you have a price limit on what you're able to buy for Christmas? Did she say you only spend $100 on me?
Well, this year she would have told me. Well, she did tell me, in fact, this year to spend no money on her, but I didn't listen.
Yeah, totally.
So,
So you're in Hughes Springs, Texas. Did you grow up there?
I grew up really close to here.
Okay.
I got out for a while. I'm not in the family of people that, Brad. A lot of people in this part of Texas, where there are more cattle than there are people.
Wow.
A lot of people never really venture more than 2 hours outside of where they grew up, which is basically Dallas.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask.
So, Dallas to the west, there's a town in Shreveport that used to get all the national touring acts. Mm-hmm. So they would go there, and that was when you felt really fancy. you went to that town. I joined the military to get the F out of here.
Yeah.
So I've lived lots of places, but yet here I am. So.
Is it your girlfriend or fiance, wife?
Yeah, fiance. Mm-hmm.
Fiance, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Where along the line, so you were, what branch of the military were you in? I
was in the Navy.
Did you meet her prior or?
I did not.
Okay.
I met her. So, by happenstance, when I got back home, after I got out of the Navy, by happenstance, there was this thing in a newspaper, what is a newspaper anymore? But in small towns, it's still kind of a big deal. And there was this ad in the paper that, there was going to be this musical happening, and I'm Chris Jericho is. I'm sure this will come up later. Chris Jericho is my favorite wrestler of all time, and just like him, I wanted to be a wrestler and a rock star. So I got really into music and music production and all this sort of stuff. So when I saw a musical was happening, I just kind of went up there and was like, "Hey, I know how to do all this production-y stuff if you guys need help." So I did it, and that's where I met her because she was the we were doing the musical Singing in the Rain.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of dancing going on.
Sure.
And my fiance is a really, really great choreographer. So she was doing all the choreography and I was doing the music production, and it was other than getting her out of the deal, it was pretty rough. So, but I got her out of the deal. So
yeah, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's if you're happy where you are today, it was all worth it. So how old were you when you joined the Navy?
I was older than normal because I was a school teacher before I joined the military, and when I decided like I really don't want to do that anymore because kids can be very, very challenging and like something you worked really hard on, and it's like, all right, here's what we're gonna do, and then they're like, I don't want to do that. This is stupid, complaining all the time and all the stuff that goes with it. It's like, I can't do this anymore. Like my soul is being like ground.
You're slowly dying.
So I was in my late 20s when I joined, but I would do it all over again. And if it's one of those, like, if you could go back and tell yourself things, I would probably have told young me, just do it. Like, because I thought about joining when I was, 18 and 19, but the like I said, I wanted to be a rock star and a wrestler, and I'm 5'10" and weigh nothing. So, especially then, I was such a beanpole. I was like, well, this wrestling thing is never going to happen. But the music thing could happen, and it happened just enough to convince me, no, we're going to try this music thing. And then it didn't, of course. And then I went to college and became a teacher. And then, the military thing came later. So obviously, fate intervened and said, this is what you're going to do. But wouldn't trade it for anything. Got to so many great stories and experiences. Wrestling related. I got to meet The Undertaker. So that's cool.
Oh,
yeah. He was on a, you know how they, every year around this time, you'll see pictures. Well, maybe not this year, but every other year in a non, the Global Bastard year. You know how you see all those pictures of the WWE wrestlers over in Afghanistan?
Yeah, of course.
I was deployed. And got to meet Taker and Matt Hardy and Mickey James and, ironically, Randy Orton, if you know his backstory.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Was it because when they do the tribute to the troops, where they put that on TV, everyone is, the whole audience is going nuts. Is that really, like, there's that many wrestling fans, or they're just, people are just happy for this type of entertainment?
Well, where I was on being in the Navy, I was on an aircraft carrier, and we happened to be in port. We didn't get the tribute to the troops.
No.
But what we got, it was the four of them. Matt Hardy was ECW champion at the time and had that big, ugly silver belt. So I got to hold that. Mickey's line to meet her was wrapped around,
I imagine.
As you can imagine. Because, look, really pretty girl.
Yeah, totally. I haven't seen one of those.
Well, now there's women on aircraft carriers, but you see them every day.
Yeah, exactly.
And funnily enough, as we fast forward, that same year, around the same time, the Carolina Panthers cheerleaders and the Jacksonville Jaguar cheerleaders came on the ship to do like a morale and welfare thing.
Yeah.
Who would think that, 10 years after that, I would have this very special place in my heart for the Jacksonville Jaguars because I'm AEW AF.
Yeah. Oh my God. Is it a good morale booster?
Absolutely.
Is everyone excited as it's coming up? And then.
Yeah. What's really funny, when the Panthers and the Jags cheerleaders came on, our captain came on and was like, all right, look, guys, behave yourselves. Yeah. Please don't embarrass me.
Can I rewind a little bit?
Of course.
So you met The Undertaker, like shake hands meet?
Yeah.
And what was he like? Like, he wasn't in character, right?
Kind of.
Okay.
Like, kind of.
Like, did he smile or laugh?
Yes, he did. He was he was so cool. And by that, I mean, he wasn't there very long. Mm-hmm. So like, you got to shake his hand, and have a little, like he signed, there was a picture, like everybody that was kind of on the Tribute to the Troops tour, their pictures were on like this one big thing, and people were just kind of signing
cool.
on over where their face was. And so he was like, hey, who do I sign this to? And he was like, thanks for doing this, and shook my hand, and I was like, this is so cool. And he's like, what are you talking about? It's cool to meet you.
Oh, really?
Edgar said it was cool to meet me.
Yeah, totally. Is he wearing like civilian clothing?
He had a big duster on, but like he was just wearing like a regular like black Under Armour shirt.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
wow, that's really cool. Not a lot of people get to even get that close to him.
Yeah. So if you want to hear another cool, hey, by the way, the military helped me meet somebody really awesome.
Yeah, of course.
You have to sit watch, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was up on the Wounded Warrior floor after hours, like they at the big naval hospital in Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
We have a Wounded Warrior floor, and we were up there, and there's a civilian that's there during the day, kind of signing people in and out, and keeping track of like who's coming and going.
Sure.
And but after hours, like the active duty folks, because like folks need things after 5 o'clock, right?
Sure.
So we're up there, and I have the first watch, and I was like looking down, doing like a crossword puzzle or something.
Mm-hmm.
And this contingent of people come up, and this dude in a bright green t-shirt is standing in front of me with jean shorts on, and it's freaking John Cena.
Really?
And Rey Mysterio. And like they got people, like I knew they were coming at some point, but they didn't call and say, hey, by the way, the WWE guys are coming. They just, there's John Cena. And
that's like, amazing.
So you've seen the videos of what this looks like over the years. You see like various people going through, and there's like troops in beds that are like shaking hands with.
Yeah.
They're coming, but you don't always know when.
Wow.
So,
wait, so what time? Cool. What time was this at? Was this at night?
It was like 6 p.m.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't super late or anything. It was like 6 p.m.
Yeah. Okay, like dinner time. Wow, that's so where in the world were you stationed?
I was an East Coast guy. Okay. I did my first duty station was in Norfolk, Virginia, where I think Tribute to the Troops was like last year or a year before. It's been recent. They did it at the Scope, if I recall correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went 4 hours south to Camp Lejeune, the base, the main Marine Corps base.
Okay.
To hang out with those guys. And then I went to the recruit base in Chicago, Greater Chicago.
Oh, okay.
And then came home.
Were you, I'll move on from your military time, but was there ever a point you were scared, like about something?
Yes.
You don't have to get into the details if you don't want.
Well, there's a funny wrestling story about that too.
Let's hear this.
The year I was deployed on the ship, I only got to do one, sadly. But the year I was deployed on the ship is the year the Somalian pirates decided they were going to be really stupid and attack naval ships. So like they call this thing, it's called General Quarters, where it's like, okay, this is no kidding, like crap's about to go down. And I go to my spot, and one of the higher up guys is watching the ship's TV, and it's it was in December, and whatever pay-per-view was going on, it was either Armageddon or TLC or you lose track of time. But I remember Mark Henry, I think it's, well, maybe it's not, but I know Mark Henry is walking down the ramp, and then all of a sudden, like, that goes off and you see the flight deck.
Oh, God.
Like, okay, here we go. But yes, like, okay, real things are happening.
Yeah. So were there a lot of wrestling fans in the military?
There's enough.
Okay.
I would say that, like, of my group of folks. I would say there's more UFC fans
Oh, okay.
than
All right.
than wrestling fans, but there's enough. Like I kind of feel like they just didn't want to admit it.
Uh,
Because like when all the folks were in this place called the Sandbox in Dubai,
uh-huh.
which is where everybody had set up shop, there those guys were busy the whole time they were there.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, back to normal life, civilian life.
right.
Is a cowboy hat and cowboy boots a regular part of your wardrobe?
I don't own either.
Really? Now, is that odd from where you're from that you don't?
It's a fair question.
Okay.
It's odd in that I'm odd because I live here and, like the things I like and think the things that I think.
Uh-huh.
Non-wrestling related. So I lived in Chicago in 2016 when the Cubs won the World Series.
Yeah, I was there. I grew up in Chicago.
So when I moved back here, how do you not become a Cubs fan if you live in Chicago when one of the biggest things in the history of the city happens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
for sure.
when I came back here, I'm wearing my best friend will be so excited that I told you this story because it's his favorite story of mine, period. I'm wearing my Cubs hat out in the wild, as it were, and I'm just buying beer like normal folks. And this guy goes, "Hey!" And I don't turn around because why would you?
Yeah.
Like, Brad, you don't assume that people are talking to you, do you?
Exactly. Totally. The world
So
doesn't
he's
revolve
like,
around
"Hey!"
me.
And I'm like, "What?" Or I didn't say what. I'm just waiting to go home. He goes,
Mhm.
"Hey!" Finally, I turned around to just see, like, who is this dude yelling at? And he goes, "What is that on your head?" Because, like, Cubs hat, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Down here, we cheer for the Rangers."
Really?
Yes. And I'm buying Pabst Blue Ribbon. And he's like, "And what is that in your hand?" I was like, "What?"
Jeez, this guy was like really
And
really
he's like,
critical
"Down
of
here,
you.
we drink Bud Light." Very well. Noted.
And you proceeded with the purchase?
Yeah, of course. I'm like, all right, let me get out of here as quickly as possible. So no, I don't own a cowboy hat and or boots.
Got it. That makes sense. Makes sense.
But your assumption that like country music is the big thing,
Okay.
that is completely accurate. One year, we have this big thing. Like all the small-ish towns in Texas have some sort of festival that they're known for.
Okay.
Our city, it's watermelons, and one of the big things is a rodeo and a country dance, like street dance.
Okay.
Well, because I have certain MJF's got to go. It's too warm, but I've already made the joke, so it's good. So one year to kind of counter program, like, look, not everybody likes country. There's this bar that I used to play at a lot, and they're like, "Will your band play like rock music, or just play your show,
Yeah.
so that people have an alternative to the country, and basically so we don't have to hear all the stuff that's going on outside."
Yeah.
So I'm that guy. I'm the contrarian in the community that they're like, "Why are you here?"
Yeah, totally. That's that really odd man.
That pretty
belong
much
here.
happens most of the time.
So is the closest like big city Dallas?
Yes, it is.
So are you like a Cowboys fan?
I'm a lapsed Cowboys fan.
Okay.
And I say that because the NFL has become so overly politicized.
Oh my
that,
God.
like, if I wanted political commentary in sports, I would just listen to news radio all the time.
It's not like you tune in CNN or Fox News looking to see somebody who could really hit a three-pointer. You know what I mean? As well. No, you're looking for news from news people and entertainment from athletes.
I don't know. There's a really great book that is, I forget the author, but the name of the book is Republicans Buy Sneakers Too. And I'm not like super right-wing Republican or anything, but basically the book is about how politics getting into our sports has kind of ruined the experience of being a sports fan, which is why I've leaned so hard into AEW and like wrestling in general, but AEW specifically, because they keep that away from us, and it really can be the escape that it's meant to be.
Totally. Like that, you want an escape from all the craziness of the politics, and you don't want to go to this escape and get hit with it there too.
Right. Like if Eddie Kingston came out and started cutting a promo on Trump, that would really, it would be hilarious.
Yeah.
But it'd be a bummer,
Yeah, and it would really cross a line, like, okay, now it's.
Can you imagine Eddie Kingston cutting a promo on Trump, though?
Oh my God.
That would be pretty epic.
So how old were you when you got into wrestling?
Okay, so I have an uncle that's about 11 years older than me, so he's the perfect age to corrupt me in every way possible.
Totally.
So he's responsible for me getting into like Van Halen and Kiss and Motley Crue and Iron Maiden and like all this great rock music. And also, since we're from Texas, you are contractually obligated, if you're my age, to not only know who the Von Erichs are, but if you do not worship at the altar of them, you will have your Texas citizenship revoked.
Oh my God.
So my uncle is like 11 years older than me, so I was probably 6 or 7 years old.
Oh, young.
When like World Class was really at the height of its powers. I'm a little too young to know the like Kerry getting his head slammed in the cage thing.
Yep.
But I definitely am old enough for Von Erichs versus Freebirds. And
did you ever go?
What's that?
Did you ever go?
Absolutely. So they World Class did a lot of touring mainly in Texas, but elsewhere, because they were one of the first regional territories that got, like this weird kind of syndication thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they did a spot show at our local civic center, and because my babysitter was like in good with the people that ran the place, I got to meet Kevin. And I'm like 8 years old, and he looked like a giant.
Oh yeah.
Because Kevin's what, 6'5"?
Yeah, he's a big dude.
So imagine little 8-year-old me goes to meet Kevin, gets to go back, and there stands Kevin Von Erich. And I remember I stuck my left hand out because I'm 8 years old and I don't know anything. And he goes, "No, son, men shake hands with their right hand." So Kevin Von Erich taught me how to shake hands.
Wow, that's cool. He's really helped mold you.
Absolutely, he has, and it makes me so happy to see that Marshall and Ross are in MLW and like just keep getting better. That it's when, not if, we see them either in Impact again, because they were there for like a one-off, but like either in Impact or AEW. Please not WWE.
No. The AEW or Impact's perfect.
Before those guys are somewhere major.
So did your parents ever take you to the shows?
No, but in a bit of reverse, my dad was a big wrestling fan.
Okay.
And later in life, when I was in my young 20s, I was living in Dallas, and this was so this would have been 98, 99, like the height of Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were doing a house show on Father's Day. So I got tickets for me and my dad to go to the house show on Father's Day, and so that was really.
Oh, that's really cool.
That was fun stuff.
That's a good memory, I imagine.
Yeah, it was really great. My dad's not with us anymore, which makes me sad.
Yeah, I imagine.
But like, wrestling is one of those things we're gonna get a little deep here for a second.
Go ahead.
Wrestling is one of those things that, like, me and my dad didn't really agree on a lot of things, but especially as he got older and kind of was like once he retired and was looking back on his life, he would be like, I wish I'd done this different or done this different. And then especially once I joined the military and I was another time zone away, I could set a timer on my phone by what time on Tuesday my dad was going to call.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he would be like, did you see what that there Roman Reigns did? Or, whatever it was. I think wrestling was always real to Dad. Like, if he was still with us, he would completely believe Eddie Kingston does not know wrestling is not a work. Because he would just be like, now that fella right there, he's serious.
Totally. This is real.
Yeah. He would, like, he's one of those, like, cheer the baby faces, boo heels. Like, he would have hated Jericho as world champion because of how he would hate MJF.
Oh yeah, totally.
He would absolutely hate him. He would be really mad at Kenny right now. For like his heel turn. So that's kind of like on every Thursday now, since I kind of stopped watching WWE when they ruined Bray Wyatt with Goldberg.
Oh God.
That's where I tapped out.
Ruined. Yeah, they totally. I mean, so I gotta. When you said do the bigger company, WWE, AEW, do they come through Dallas, and did you say Shreveport as well?
They haven't come through Shreveport. One of their first stops was in Dallas.
Okay.
And I really wanted to go, and there, like, some stuff came up where I couldn't. But once touring, there is this AEW does this. You can tell that they have hope that they can get out of Daly's place. I bet, especially now that it's getting cold.
Yeah.
About in like August or September, I remember seeing, like, just on a whim, going to the website and looking at their live events. And they had a live event scheduled for both New Orleans and St. Louis. And both of those were within 8 hours of where I live. So I was like, F it, I'm going. And then I didn't buy tickets because I was like, this is going to get shut down. So there's no...
Oh, yeah.
Like, I said, this is like October or November, somewhere around there. I'm like, this is going to get shut down. But once they're touring again, if they're anywhere close, I'm going.
You're going to go. I know, me too. Like, first chance. I'm kind of like, from where I moved, I'm like 2 hours from Chicago, 2 hours from St. Louis, 2 hours from Indianapolis. So I'll go. I don't even know what's south of me, but, I'll figure that part out when it comes through. Oh, this is what I wanted to ask you. I forgot. When you would go see a WCCW show, do you remember how much tickets cost?
Oh God, dude, no. It was a birthday present.
Yeah.
And I was 8 years old.
Yeah, so that wasn't like on your mind.
I remember a lot of things from that show. I remember Iceman King Parsons, because remember, this is in the parking lot of a civic center. They didn't even do it inside.
I
remember, and they were like driving people to the ring. Like, there wasn't like a legit entranceway or anything like that. I remember Iceman King Parsons. He used to come out to We Are Family, right? We are family. So he comes out, and I don't remember who he was wrestling, but whoever it was didn't get music, and like King Parsons got cheered, because they're playing the song and people are all happy. And whoever it was he was wrestling goes, "You only like him because he got music."
And did that guy end up losing pretty badly?
He did. He did. He lost.
Oh, that's funny. All right. Do you have any hobbies, like outside of wrestling, things you like to do?
Yeah. Well, I do a podcast myself. It's very niche because we talk about the band Ghost.
Okay.
And I say I collect guitars, but that's really not necessarily true because I used to collect them, and then I was like, then I had to move so much that the sheer. it's kind of like when you have a ridiculous amount of books
Mm-hmm.
and you go to box them up, and then every time you move, you're like, why do I do this to
Totally.
myself?
Hundreds
So-
of pounds of books you're lugging around.
So it got to be kind of the same thing. Like trying to move all these instruments around kind of got to be troublesome. So I paired it way back. I used to have 16 electric
Wow.
guitars and then a bunch of basses and some acoustics and whatnot. I've paired it way back now to like, okay, here are the things that I actually play.
Yeah.
And so guitar, I guess the answer is guitar stuff, but
So how many did you say you're down to?
I'm down to, I can see the rack over there. So let me get 1, 2, 3. I'm down to 7. Yeah, I'm down to 7.
Still, do you play them?
Yeah. Well, they all have like a specific purpose.
Yeah.
Like I've got my 2 that are like over here, just kind of off the camera. I've got my 2 that get the heaviest rotation.
Yeah.
But then the rest like have their purpose. Like if you're recording something and you need like, well, this is not a job for you, pal. It's like you wouldn't put Lance Archer in a lucha libre match.
Totally.
Blah, blah, you know.
So do you play regularly?
I'm like every day.
Oh, awesome! And this has been going on since how long? When did you first pick up a guitar?
It was probably 13 or 14. Like the same uncle that got me into everything.
Yeah.
He was always playing guitar, so I was like, that's so cool. I want to do that. And so
Did this uncle
Mhm.
uncle ever sell you your first bag of pot too? Because he sounds awesome. Like
no. No.
all right, whatever.
He works for the CDC. So
Oh, okay. So yeah, totally. Okay. So how long have you been engaged for?
Longer than my fiance would like.
So how?
We're looking at roughly. I better not get this wrong. We've been together since August of 2017, and I think we've been engaged for about 2 years, roughly.
Is she like pushing this on you every day to let's do
No.
this finally?
No, she doesn't. No, she doesn't. But we're both getting older, so like, it's time to get her done.
Does she want? Is she younger? And also, does she want like the wedding that like little girls dream of type thing?
No, she's older than me. The wedding
Awesome.
that little girls want part, to a degree.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Here, she probably is not going to like that I tell this story.
Uh-huh.
We had a plan for like how we were going to get married, and part of it involved me doing Finn Balor's entrance.
Really?
Yes.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, like I had the audio all cut up. I had like the part where he does the arm thing.
Yeah.
I had these smoke machines that are like fake pyro effects.
Okay.
And that those were gonna go off, and
So will she watch like AEW with you? Does she sit down and watch? Or she has too many questions and it's no fun?
Well, it has happened.
Mm-hmm.
But if she does it, she's only doing it because she knows that Dynamite is like one of the most important things in my life. So
Like she would say, "Oh, that's so stupid."
she will never say it's stupid.
Okay.
But she's definitely one of the probably like your typical wrestling fiance that like, okay, that's that thing my guy likes. And,
yeah. I'll put up with it.
She's not a huge fan.
But she appreciates that you like it.
Right.
Okay, right. Okay, so you said that your all-time favorite is Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
Do you have any others or anyone right now that like, that you really are gravitating towards?
Yeah, Brad, like how much time do you have? Like, cause
Go ahead.
First of all, like anybody that makes it to a show that you and I can watch, that's such an achievement.
Yeah.
When I was a little kid, obviously I told you the Von Erichs. After that, I was a little stinger. So guess how happy I've been the last couple of weeks.
Oh my God, I bet. Do you want to see him wrestle again?
Not really, but not
maybe once on in like a high-profile tag match or something.
If he does like a 6-man tag match with Cody and Darby, and just kind of stands there and looks cool, and maybe he does a Stinger Splash, and maybe he does a Scorpion Deathlock on somebody.
Totally, that would be the way to do it.
Then that's fine. But like, I don't want him getting buckle bombed, and like I was legit scared and I'm sure Seth felt so bad.
Oh yeah.
So like, I'm not gonna be one of those people like Seth is too reckless and But
yeah, he sounded like he wanted this to happen.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I was a little stinger.
Okay.
I loved the Rock and Roll Express. Now, like, it'd be easier to tell you the people I don't like now.
Okay, let's hear that. Actually, I'd like to hear that.
You know who I don't like? The WWE writing team.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm sure this is going to be about WWE.
Because it's not... Like, I don't even blame Goldberg. Like, I said that, like, I quit watching WWE because of how they booked Bray Wyatt. Like, it's not like Goldberg walked in and demanded this is what's going to happen. Like, Vince had to say, yep, this is what we're doing, pal. So
I remember a couple of years ago, I think it was Fastlane. I think it was in Milwaukee. And the last match was Goldberg versus Kevin Owens, who was the champion. Oh my God. And like they really think, I mean, what a waste of Kevin Owens.
I hated that so much. And that match is tangentially related to why Chris Jericho's in AEW right now.
So explain to me how so.
So that's the Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho are best friends time frame. And they
right.
So they have their breakup, and leading up to that point, before Goldberg came back, Chris was working on the auspices that KO and Chris Jericho is headlining WrestleMania. And then all of a sudden they have the opportunity to have Goldberg and Brock, and they decide that match needs the title. So instead of headlining, now they're second on the show, and that's when Jericho decided he was leaving.
God damn, they wasted him.
Yeah, well, they wasted KO. I have a great KO Indies story if you would like to hear it.
Yes, I would love.
So Ring of Honor in about 2011 or 2012, somewhere around that time frame, came through Norfolk, and they played the basement of the Scope. They just set these... It was probably 300 or 400 or 500 people-ish. And there were so many people on that show that you see on national television now that it's not even funny. Like Claudio Castagnoli is on it.
Oh, wow.
Jay Lethal was on it. Briscoes. This is kind of...
Was like Homicide there at the time?
If he wasn't on that particular show.
Okay.
So, but Kevin Steen was... I don't even remember who he wrestled, but the place was small enough and it was lit up enough that everywhere he saw somebody holding a title belt, he would point at them and go, "Hey, look, a fake champion!" And you could hear it because it was a small enough place.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. That's like very intimate,
Yeah. I remember Jay Lethal was the television champion at the time. I don't remember who was ROH champion, but I remember Jay Lethal was a TV champion because he came out and signed after his match, and he had the belt wrapped around his neck instead of wearing.
Yeah.
His Ric Flair impression is the most hilarious thing ever.
Daddy, yeah, it really is. What was the best show you've been to?
Um, the best wrestling show?
Yeah.
Okay. That would be the Raw after Money in the Bank 2011, or 2 weeks after. If you look up CM Punk returns, and
Oh, when he came back with the belt.
Yeah, he comes out to Cult of Personality for the first time, and that's in Hampton, Virginia.
Oh.
So me and my son were at that show, and so for that by itself, that was the coolest. And that was in the time period where Zack Ryder was getting a lot of traction for his YouTube show. And before the show, people are chanting, "We want Ryder," and we got him, and he freaking wrestled Michael Cole on that show, and Cole came out and with those ridiculous like amateur wrestling headgear thing, and he came out to King of Kings, Triple H's like alternate theme music, and he did the water spit thing, and
totally
really funny.
So okay, you have children?
I have one, yes.
One? How old?
22.
When did you first expose him to wrestling?
Like immediately.
Immediately, okay. And he likes it to this day?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Is it the greatest going like to shows with him, or?
Yes, especially that show. So I got to meet Zack Ryder, and so I sent my kid. I texted the picture to my kid, and my kid, the response I got back was like capital letters. "Why are you with Zack Ryder?" Like, because opportunities, child.
Yeah, totally. You weren't gonna pass it up.
No, absolutely not.
Just to spare his feelings.
What's really funny is that year, because that was again that was the Christmas that I met that like I look up and there's John Cena. The people that they had around lunchtime that day were Alberto Del Rio. Before we knew he was not the best person ever, and Ricardo and Eve Torres and Zach, and just a few weeks or a month or however prior to that was when Eve had like cuckolded Zack Ryder, and like they were sitting next to each other, and the guy in front of me like saw them sitting next to each other and was like, "Zach, how can you sit next to her?" And he goes,
really?
He's like, "You just do what you got to do, bro."
Bro, that's awesome. All right. So my wife is probably very angry at me right now, but that's fine.
Can't have that, man.
I'm not going to let it spoil things. Can I ask you to play a Would You Rather game?
Absolutely.
Okay. Would you rather have your only mode of transportation be one of those hoverboards or a camel?
So we're working on the auspices that hoverboards are real as
the ones they have, it's like two wheels, and like they came out a couple years ago, and like they always catch fire, and you've never seen somebody use it properly.
Right. Well, camels, I don't know if you know this about camels. By the way, camels came to be because a committee of human beings got together to design a horse, and we ended up
really?
Yes.
Totally, with a built-in seat.
Yeah, exactly. You get one of the dromedaries that's got the two hump scenario. You got a built-in saddle. So yeah, we're going, and camels can go like forever in a day without having to drink water. So like you don't have to refill them with gas. And hoverboards are a great disappointment. And Back to the Future lied to us.
Yes, they totally. We should have had them perfectly by now. All the kinks worked out. All right,
they're like 5 years behind. So
yeah. All right, whatever. Would you rather be shipwrecked on a desert island or be in prison?
Oh, desert island. I ain't going to prison. No, thank you.
Okay. Even though you're guaranteed 3 meals a day?
I was in the military, and there's a lot of similarities between the military and prison.
Got it.
And at least on the desert island, I have say.
Yeah, that's true. And you could theoretically have hope of getting off the island.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Would you rather only be able to sleep for 4 hours a day or only eat 1 meal a day?
Well, that's a harder question than you think.
It's a bit difficult, yeah.
Leia, what do you think? My dog's probably.
Yeah, I was
about
gonna
to make
say,
an appearance.
is there an animal next year?
Yeah, my dog's probably about to make an appearance.
Oh, nice.
If it's a really big meal, I'm probably going to go into a food coma anyway.
Yes, true. Good point.
So I'm going to go with one meal.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Well, Daniel, thank you so much for coming on. This was a great time. And you have awesome stories. So obviously we'll do a part 2 down the road.
Oh, no problem, man. Love it.
All right. Well, you have a happy and healthy new year. And I hope your Christmas is good. And we'll talk again after the new year.
All right, Brad. Good to talk to you, buddy.
All right. Take care. Bye.
All right, man. Bye.